Alfred,
Hello?
I'm at the location. Train with Jack's making a new video.
Oh my god, you're not Batman. Just come on already.
Alfred, alright, I'm pretty hungry.
So if you're a nerd like me, the chances are you've gone away and you've watched a superhero movie or a superhero series, or you've read a comic book and you've felt genuinely inspired, right? Like you've watched Batman and now you want to learn how to fight like Batman, or you've watched Daredevil or Green Arrow and now you want to be functionally fit like those guys, right? Well, that's how I feel anyway, right? And so for the past few years, I've been training like a superhero. Now, superhero training, in my opinion, is what real hybrid training is. And that's not to dismiss the current trend of hybrid athlete online, because I think that's a great movement. The typical hybrid athlete is someone that can do an endurance event and then lift weights as well. That's great. But in my opinion, there are some other elements to hybrid athlete training, and superheroes represent that. Because if you're training to be a superhero, right, you can be physically capable and functionally ready for whatever the moment demands, whatever life throws at you. Whether that is defending yourself, whether that is defending someone else, whether it's actually running away.
Oi, give me your lunch money.
Or something far more simple, like helping someone lift something heavy or carrying something heavy for someone. Whatever it is, whatever life throws at you, if you are training like a superhero, the chances are you are physically ready for that task. There are 4 different elements to superhero training. We've got martial arts, we've got weight training, we've got cardio, and then we have meditation. I'm going to go through these one by one and just structure how I've been doing them over the past few years. Now, martial arts training is kind of the most obvious one if you're training to be a superhero, right? Except I think it's one that a lot of people actually forget and neglect. Quite often people will watch a film like Batman or Captain America and they will see the physique of this guy and they'll think, oh, do you know what? If I look like that guy, if I just diet hard enough, if I train hard enough and look like that, I'm basically going to be a superhero. Well, yes and no. Like, if you are only weight training, right, of course you're going to be better in situations than the skinny version of you that doesn't lift weights and is unfit. That's true. But you need to be adding some combat sports or martial arts training into your life if you want to really train like a superhero. Now, this isn't so that we can all put on masks, go out at night and just beat the crap out of the first criminal we find. I mean, that would be really fun, but that's not what we're training for.
I'm vengeance.
Right? We're training, like I said, for whatever life throws at us. Now, since I started training in combat sports, I developed this newfound confidence that I don't think I could ever go back to not having anymore. Now, when I say newfound confidence, I don't mean I walk into every room and I assess the room and I think, you know what? I could kick everyone's ass in here. No, that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm just talking about the confidence so that if stuff start going down, like you find yourself in a bad situation, that you at least have some sort of a skill set to get yourself out of that situation, right? I also think that combat sports and martial arts teaches you this level of humility that you just don't get in other sports, and that is violence. Like, you understand the consequences of violence, right? And you understand it to the extent that actually you think the best situation, the best outcome to any situation that starts getting aggressive or violent is to avoid violence at all costs. Just because you are trained, you know, you could be a professional MMA fighter, you could be a fantastic boxer, it doesn't automatically mean you're going to win every altercation, right? Because there's so many variables in like street fights or just the real world that you can't possibly prepare for. You don't know if someone's got a weapon. You don't know if someone's going to sucker punch you. You don't know if their friends are going to get involved, right? And so there's always consequences to violence. Even if you win, there could be consequences. There could be legal implications. You could severely hurt someone and live with that for the rest of your life. That is basically why you want to avoid violence at all costs. That being said, because now you're probably thinking, well, why would I want to learn it? Because when you know how to facilitate fighting, or you at least have some sort of martial arts training, you can be the person to control the situation better than the person that doesn't understand how. You don't have to be the aggressor. You can be the person that simply subdues the other person and calms them down. Or you can be the person that knows, you know what, if this does get really aggressive and I've got no other options, fine, let's throw down, I fancy my chances. So that is why I think martial arts training is essential. Not necessarily because we're going to beat up criminals, guys. but because we can be the man the moment demands. Next up, we've got weight training. Now, I come from like a bodybuilding type background, right? I was never a bodybuilder, but I did compete in a physique show. I used to do fitness modeling. And so I guess my training has always been rooted in aesthetics. Well, when I got into combat sports and martial arts, I realized that this type of training was absolutely not really serving me, right? I know it's great to look great and it can improve our confidence, which can then help us in other areas of life. But if you're only training for aesthetics, it's like not next to useless, but it's just not optimal for any form of performance, really. But obviously it's better than if you don't train. Now, when I say I stopped training for aesthetics, that's not strictly true. Obviously, you still want to look good. You watch the superheroes on these things, they're always lean, chiseled, or beefed up. They always look great. So we're not going to completely ditch aesthetic training. However, I do think there needs to be more emphasis on just general strength, because that is what's going to help you, not just if you got into like a fighting situation, but just in everyday life, being generally stronger all round. I also think that recovery is something that needs to be heavily prioritized. So my training these days is focused on general strength, where I focus mainly on compound lifts. I also incorporate a lot of kettlebell movements and bodyweight exercises, and then on recovery. So now I train with full body splits, because personally I find that I recover better because the training across each muscle group is spread out across the week. Whereas before, if I were doing a bro split, for example, what use am I to people if the next day my shoulders are so sore I physically can't help someone? Like, sorry, Nan, I can't carry that for you. My shoulders are absolutely knackered from yesterday. Or if I find myself in a boxing sparring situation and I can't physically hold my shoulders up because they're aching so much, it's just suboptimal. So that is why I found prioritizing your strength and your recovery is so much better for the rest of your life. Now, next up, we've got cardio. So I am not a cardio king, right? I hate cardio. I've never been an endurance type person. When I was in school, I was that kid that was very fast. I would do the 100-meter sprint. I'd be on the football pitch and I would sprint down the wing. I would always be the last one tracking back. I've just never enjoyed endurance, long distance stuff. However, when I got into combat sports, it keeps going back to that. But when I got into combat sports, I realized I need to do more cardio, because everyone gasses very quickly in fights. It's true. And then it also opened my eyes to the fact that actually, if I'm physically fit aerobically, it's just going to improve the rest of my life. It's going to improve my weightlifting because I can breathe better. It's going to improve my overall health. So cardio is extremely important. Now, I don't like cardio, right? So I just literally do 1 to 2 cardio sessions a week. I tend to go running at the moment because I find that actually helps my judo the best. However, I do HIIT style workouts as well because I find them slightly more enjoyable. You can mask the fact that it's cardio whilst doing cardio. And again, we're taking it back to that situation. If you do need to run away, and I'm not saying run away from a person, but any situation, if I suddenly need to find myself, oh no, I'm short on time, I need to get somewhere quickly, am I fit enough to actually run across town? Am I fit enough to walk a long distance if some sort of disaster happens? It's all about being prepared. So if you can cover your aerobic base slightly, I'm not saying you need to be doing marathons, but being fitter than just someone that doesn't do cardio, essentially, is only going to improve every single area of your life. Finally, we've got meditation. Now, this is one a lot of people would never even consider, but think about your favorite superheroes, right? Think about Batman, think about Daredevil. These guys are meditating. Why? Well, there's several reasons. Number one, if you are calm, you can make decisions far better than if you are hyper emotional. Meditating frequently helps you to regulate your emotions, and it also clears your head. So if you are planning ahead, if you need to reflect on things, this is your time. Take that moment to sit down and meditate. It changed my life. I swear to God. Now, I'm not saying since I've been meditating that I've achieved monk state and I'm suddenly enlightened. No. However, I do think I'm better at decision making than I ever was. I do think I have a healthier relationship with myself than I've ever had. And ultimately, it's good to have a conversation with yourself now and then, or sit in silence. It's very rare that we actually sit somewhere with no external stimulus. So doing this has so many cognitive benefits that will help you in your performance and the rest of your life. Now, what got me thinking about training like a superhero? Well, for me, I think it was when I became a dad, right? And I know that sounds hilarious. Oh God, dad's off pretending to be a superhero again. No, but it had me realize that, oh, you know what? I've got these little people dependent on me now. Like, they need me not just to protect them, but to do things with them and to do things for them. And if your training is actually catered towards helping you do the rest of your life to the best of its ability, and you're not just complaining about your DOMs all the time, or, oh, my legs, I can't sit on the toilet with too much pain. If you're training like a bodybuilder, I know it's fun, I know it's great to look great, but it doesn't help the rest of your life that well. Superhero training does. It can help you play with the kids for longer and have a better quality of life. It can help you hopefully protect them from the intruder that's trying to break into your house. It can help you participate in just more stuff in general. You're not afraid to go on that hike on holiday anymore. At the end of the day, superhero training is all about being prepared for anything, right? It's about being capable. It's about being a capable human. It doesn't matter if you're a parent or not. It's just that's what opened my eyes. If you can be more useful to yourself and to society, that's what superhero training is. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed superhero content, there's so much more to come on this channel. Don't forget to drop it a like. I'll see you guys in the next one.